Sparrow laying out the case exactly for what articulating what many folks feel in a wonderful way. Capitalism has gone mad is a general feeling because the cost of living is driving everybody out of their minds. There is a reason for it, and there are folks we talk to about it, folks who are actually involved in the distribution of food and in a position to explain why the retail price indices for January through December 2014 showed market increases every month to the point where folks are talking hyperinflation. Folks are talking that I just can't survive on what I have.
Okay, so our guest to deal with, help us understand why food prices are high, and why, as the governor of the central bank predicted just in January that higher prices are coming, is Yunus Ibrahimn. And Yunus is a director at Ramesh and Leela Supermarket. He's, more importantly, president of the Supermarket Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Says he's been on the board for several years and involved in his family's business for long enough to give us a good background into what our topic today. Heading into April next month, the Supermarket Association will host, listen to this, a seminar titled Impact of Falling Oil Prices on the Food Industry. All right, that means we're going to be bracing for higher food prices as well. And let's put a little background as well to this, Mr. Bishop. The government, our food import bill, would be reminded, it's $4 billion annually. The government removed VAT in a bid to help the situation, and it may not have made the impact that everyone wished. The government removed the VAT from 7,000 food items in November of 2012. This was followed by additional discounts on rice, flour, and oil in December of 2013. And the price of food has not gone up, has not gone down at all. It's still biting in, it's the biggest, making the biggest impact, hardest impact on our pockets outside of everything else. Why? Yes, why?
Good morning, first and foremost. Pleasure to be here on behalf of the Supermarket Association. Great company, great station. The points you made are extremely valid, Sharmain. What we have to understand is that Trinidad and Tobago, when you couple that import bill that we have per annum, Trinidad and Tobago is literally a speck on the entire world map when it comes to receiving and purchasing of supply. What happens is that you have to understand that at the supermarket level, when we purchase from our suppliers, and our suppliers really and truly are the first line of price takers on an international scale. Unless it is we go towards security and produce on our own, right? We will always have to banter on the world market. We will always have to trade, and there will always be crops. There will always be products that we will never be able to grow here and sustain. For case in point, wheat that always has a generalized north motion, a generalized trend. We see it all around. I mean, a price of a loaf of bread now is $10.
At the end of the day, you're going to find prices very difficult all over the world. But your supermarket, when in trying to understand why the cost of living is so high, your association made a statement that the inability to buy goods from foreign suppliers, it was a direct result of you not having access to foreign exchange to make the purchase, and as such, you must use a middleman in order to purchase this. The central bank governor, he agrees with you on that, and he is saying that we've got to find a way to free up, encourage more, so you can reach out. What can the government do, or what are they hearing from your association that meeting the prices, the demands of the middlemen who have access to the foreign currency doing the buying, and then you have to get from them? What is the discussion going on as far as making that more available to you, that being foreign exchange, to allow you to get better control on these prices?
We have had conversations with both the Bankers Association and with the central bank directly, and especially our members who are direct importers, to make the US dollar more available, to make it a little more fluid. The scarcity of it was driving a situation for I would say for the last 2 quarters last year, where the US dollar wasn't readily available, and we had to form a line and wait, not just for the currency, but when you wait for the currency, what you're doing, you're waiting for the goods and services, because nobody's going to release their goods and unless you pay them. And even if it is that you have passed great relations and you have excellent, exceptional credit relationships for 30, 40, 50 years with lines of supply, your credit will run out unless you do get that cash. So to a certain extent, it has been mitigated. And we had that level of freeing up. However, it's still going to be a challenge. But we have to leave that to the specialists, the bankers and the central bank governor. But we can only ask that the initiatives that they have taken to free up the grab for the currency is taken seriously. And we have asked for being on a priority listing.
Right.
Food is important, So the thing about it is that the guy who wants to bring in iron and steel on one side, he may see it as important. The other one who wants to bring down clothes is important, but I'm thinking about it, food is basic. We should get first run.
Sharmain made a point a moment ago about the subsidies from the government, and I know your association was a bit miffed that you were not consulted before these subsidies were put in place.
Well, that was the first run of it. That was the first run. Since then, I believe we've had about 4 times that the subsidies did pass on per occasion. I believe Christmas was the second to last one, then previously was Diwali, then it was Eid and so on. And it does come in. But it was really and truly subsidies. I think we have to watch those things as gifts and appreciate it when it does come by.
And I appreciate when it comes, but the reason I led you down that path is to understand something. Before subsidies are introduced, price of goods are at one price. When the subsidies run out, there's almost always, from the research, a 15+% increase in the cost of these items. Why?
That's a definite world trading factor. Definitely. Yeah.
Now, let me see. Now, you've got. I'm a layman here, so you've got to lay this out for me, all right? A pound of flour is going to cost me $10, and then the government put a subsidy on it, and then I get it for $8. It lasts for a period of time because it's a limited subsidy. When the subsidy goes away, it goes up to $15. Why?
Well, I wouldn't be so harsh to say that it will go up to $15. Okay?
No, but it makes nice color.
Wheat, like I said at the beginning, wheat at the beginning. I said of the conversation, that is definitely a commodity that is affected way beyond our control. Way beyond our control. I mean, we can't fathom to understand the levels of winter, the lack of water, the fact that the land is frozen. Sometimes when they have to till and plow and to start back in the crop water harvest or whatever time you have to harvest, these cycles, atmospheric changes, these cycles of supply, these cycles of who is buying it from them, right? When it is that Trinidad and Tobago takes one container, for example, just to put it on scale for you, we take one container of something. A block like Russia, a block like China, they're buying 1,000. We're buying 1,000, and they are getting to pay the preferential rate for it. They're paying more than we may actually pay for it.
I'm so glad you take the time to be here this Sunday morning, so I'm not trying to bust your chops, but what I'm saying is, if it is one way before, it is true that the market is fluid.
Yes,
all right, it's going to go up and down, up and down. How come it always goes up after the subsidies?
That's a world trend. That is world economics.
You're not leaving that corner, are you? Go ahead, John.
Okay, with the 4 billion annual import bill, right, and the fact that we're importing so much, that's the problem. That's the problem. Therefore, what percentage of what you sell in your supermarket, what percentage of it is local? What percentage is foreign?
Most of the fruit, vegetables, crops, they are local. From confectionaries, snacks, local, the alcoholic beverages, the soft drinks, all that is local.
Local cereals.
Yes. No, it's a matter of personal taste, because if most of your cereals that you will sell is not what we would have traditionally grown up on and so on and so forth. I mean, the granolas, the this and that and the other. But you have mainly foreign cereals out there. Foreign cereal is wheat, once again, another commodity that the same commodity Rennie is speaking about that always moves in a northwest position. You don't have basically more than I would be so bold to say 30% of probably what you sell, if so much, can be local supply.
But that 30% would be great, would impact greatly on the cost, on the food bill of an average family.
Most definitely.
After 2000, you had floods. You always have that. You have bad weather and stuff. Would you say, from the perspective of your association, that enough is being done to encourage and safeguard the nation's food basket, as far as the policies that you see?
When it comes to food and subsistence and a basic commodity as food, I mean, I don't think enough could ever be done. enough can never be done. But we're definitely seeing moves in the right direction. We're seeing moves in a phenomenal study that has taken place for land use in this country and land regularization. You know, we have to use our the proper lands for agriculture for that purpose, you know, not for squatting, not for housing, not for this, for that. But we really, realistically, after that survey has been completed, the sharing of what land use, what we use the land for has to be there. That is the first step. Yeah.
Okay, we grew up with a price schedule. You go to a shop to buy goods, and there's a price schedule that is stuck on the wall of the shop or the supermarket. And we grew up with that, prices control. The most recent thing we've had was a prices council, which is supposed to monitor and compare prices and stuff, and which has since been disbanded. It was disbanded. Who is monitoring you all? Who is monitoring prices? Who do you all answer to?
Well, we have close relationships with the Ministry of Trade and the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. That's first and foremost. They always have their people on the floor. Price checks are always done. Compilations and studies are always done. Yeah.
Well, can I ask, when you say always, how often and in what?
I don't think we pass a 2-month period or maybe as far as a quarter to actually not see surveys actively occurring on your floor on a regular basis.
Okay.
On the floor of the store, the retail outlets, and so on. You know, consumer reports are always being tabulated. CSO does the work on that, so on and so forth. Who keeps us in check? The highly competitive industry that we have, extremely highly competitive industry of supermarkets, is what keeps us in check. I don't know if you know, but we have crossed 350 retail stores, the moms and pop stores, the parlors, the quick shops, the convenience stores. The forces of the consumer is what keeps us in check. I don't think anybody can afford. I mean, we have been known and recorded to be the most competitive food industry in this region of the world. We are most competitive in the Caribbean and in North America and the whole Americans as a whole. Yeah.
Based on what I have to put out at the supermarket, I would not say that I am in a competitive environment at all. Is there price? No, but is there as in level of price fixing? For example, when you
not
go
at all.
when
Absolutely
you go to the
not
vegetable market, and I don't mean it in an illegal way, but what I'm saying is when you go to the vegetable market on the morning, well, the middleman creates the price hike as well with the local goods. When you go to the market, everyone sells the tomatoes for a certain period of time between $12 and $15. You barely get it beyond that. So therefore, automatically, when you reach the level of the supermarkets, the prices vary by $1 or $2.
The thing about it is that spending a day or understanding retail, what we have to do to cover our overheads, we just label it as overheads, but let's break it down here. We won't sell tomatoes. Let's use the same conversation. We won't sell tomatoes in the supermarket the same way it's done at the central market. It's not in the same environment. We have environmental costs of what we have for our store from all the overheads. You're not going to get air conditioning in the central market. You're not going to get your tomatoes wrapped and put aside. You're not going to get it sorted, and you're not going to get it pre-priced. And the conversation piece that you have to go to ask for 5 of these, squeeze and touch and feel is not there. You know, we have to pay a line of staff to actually package, to clean, to process, and put together. So that, although it adds value for the consumer, it also adds a cost. Every single business have to account for their costs.
The president of the Supermarket Association is our guest this morning, having brunch with us, and we are talking about the high cost of food items here. You sort of answered Sharmain on that question, but I'm going to come back to it. You were saying that the Government Price Control Authority regularly enforces the rules to ensure that there is some control on arbitrarily raising prices. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the thing about that, back to that committee what Sharmain was speaking about, that committee that has been disbanded, what was recognized was that there was enough regulation to govern there. So they were actually a committee that were just watchdogs, and they weren't able to bite. Yeah, they weren't able to act upon.
But by disbanding it, now there are no dogs.
But we are
I mean, no chance of biting. There's nothing to bite.
Sir, if you go too high, the consumer will bite you. And that's the environment we live on.
Yes, but as you rightly said earlier, we need food.
It's a very passionate topic. I mean, the thing about it is that something will go up. Gasoline may go up, or other commodity may go up. But when food goes up, it's emotional.
Yeah, I never want.
It affects the person.
Nobody would.
Does it affect your sales?
Obviously, it does, because what happens is that people, if something gets out of the way, they change their patterns. Yeah, they change your buying preferences and they shift. The consumer at the end of the day is the king of it.
It is not for you to be concerned about because you're with the Supermarket Association and there's nothing wrong in looking after your interests. I do find that absent an effective biting price control authority, that you're always going to have the suspicion, you're always going to have the charges made, and you're always going to have the chance, as you said, with the middleman. They will do price control, and people find ways around it to do stuff. But if you have no dogs in the canal to look out at the yard, maybe dogs is not the best analogy, but if you have no guards looking in, then it becomes double difficult, and it gives free rein to an organization like yours. Not that you abuse it, I'm just saying that it leaves the avenue open for everybody to run into prices that they find give them the best profit. You argue your association, we're spending time, we're sprucing up this, we're doing this, we keep providing better products. I mean, that's a statement coming out from the organization. And that I'm sure you're doing. And by the same time, you will look for the best return on your investment. And as part of the public, I want to know that somebody's watching, that you're not getting too big a return on your investment to my detriment.
The boards and the committees and the wider committees that we sit on do act on a certain level of mitigation to that. So what's going on is that the recent appointment, we are represented on the Economic Development Board, the cabinet appointed committee, and what we do there, we discuss prices, when they are very well aware of when the international commodities have gone up, and this is not just from a supermarket level, but this is from an economic perspective. Sharmain, go ahead.
No, well, just we are heading into your seminar entitled "The Impact of Falling Oil Prices in the Food Industry." You know already what's going to happen. Well,
actually, we are in the process of finalizing our speaker for that interesting seminar. I mean, one of the directions where we are definitely going with the Supermarket Association is education.
But I'm not asking about the seminar.
Yeah.
I'm asking about what's going to happen when oil prices drop further, because they
like what Rennie was asking earlier on. I mean, the layman needs to understand. If it is I have to go now and say, okay, prices of oil are falling, and when prices were going up, prices went up. Why should we not get a decrease when it comes down? Why should the resins and there's resins all around us? There are byproducts of oil and gas all around us, and this is how we make our day, from clothes to wrapping and packaging and so on and so forth. Our mantra is that, okay, fine, when things went up, so did prices. If it comes down, we should see it come down. That is our position on it, and we are always the watchdog for the consumer. We are the watchdog for the consumer, and we do a job continuously bargaining for the consumer. We look out for the consumer on every level when it comes to food security, health and safety of food, development of food products, and also supporting the local. That is our mantra, and we do that by working together with our stakeholders, maybe governmental and non-governmental, But our stance is things are going down. Should we not see something come along also?
You are watching this all the time, so new research and biotechnology involved in the food basket. Are you seeing enough being done, invested into new technology, into open incorporation of biotechnology as part of assisting this depleted food basket locally?
Well, that will definitely have to be answered on an international level. On a local level, we have not gone into genetically modified foods just yet. We are now realizing ourselves into getting mega farms out there to get the production levels higher, to make sure that when the floods hit, that the prices don't soar, to make sure when, there's a severe drought, let's get the farms out there, let's support the government bodies that get the production up, get the representation up on these committees, so we can always be with them to ensure that the price is buffered and sustainability is there for the consumer.
Mr. Ibrahim, you realize that whenever I take you down a field, I'm going down there for a reason. And the area of the technology, I wonder, because as the head of the Supermarket Association, the GMO situation and what is brought in to be sold here, is that something of a concern to your...
Well, they have arguments to and from. I mean, I do come from somewhat of a scientific background, I mean, there are the pros and cons of it. People saying nutritional value is no longer there. Genetically modified is just not the way to go. But I mean, the world powers would say, we need to get food on everybody's plate. We need to go this way. We need to build a more resistant crop. We need to build a crop that, for whatever reason, will reject insect.
And small states, you feel, have no say in this matter as to controlling it via what they import.
I wouldn't say we have zero say. The say we have is to actually be part of the movement. We have to be part of the movement.
Good show.
Yeah.
Good show. It was really nice of you coming in this morning. Sorry, Sharmain, you wanted to say something.
I just wanted to ask of the supermarkets, the food import bill, if you have 300 supermarkets, like are there 2 or 3 people who bring all the products into the country and it's distributed among the...
No. The supply chain is very vast. I mean, you have, I would say, tens, even hundreds of companies that bring in stuff for now. But you remember this, the food import bill that they speak of is not just for supermarkets. I mean, you have so much other food besides what passes through a supermarket. You have all these proliferation of restaurants, fast food outlets. You have all these other food avenues that, it doesn't even reach to a store for that. They directly trade, put and come in. That is the overall food bill, I mean, supermarket does not account for the 4 billion of it. Although it is high, what we have recognized in the last conversations with the minister then was that, the bill, the dollar value may not have come down, but the volume index, the index volume of trading has actually started to come down.
By what percentage?
It's very small, but it's encouraging.
Yunus Ibrahimn, President of the Supermarkets Association, thank you so much for coming in. I am not optimistic about the next couple of months because there's something there I don't understand. And maybe you can take a mind like mine and elevate me a little bit. If the cost of fuel is going down, why are prices going up?
Well, the thing about it,
because that's your transportation.
Recently, with an article released by the Governor General, he did speak about something called the overheating of the economy in Trinidad and Tobago, reaching to an extent whereby we are reaching our full capacity. Mm-hmm. Unemployment is at its lowest, for what they say. I mean,
I like that for what they say.
Yeah. Unemployment is at its lowest. Everything has been maxed out. So then again, you're gonna have the internal heating up of the economy. Mm-hmm. What is gonna cause that? You're gonna either have to source labor from the outside or to actually bid for the same labor from the inside. So with that bidding comes now cost increase. If it is I have to pay the same guy who has the 15-year experience more than the guy who has the 10 and keep on tearing it and going up, taking preferential and bidding and signing contracts. So labor, it's gonna go up.
You just led me into an area that we will.
But let me tell you something. Don't be so pessimistic about the outlook over the next few months. I mean, I'll tell you that I was speaking to some suppliers up to yesterday. They mainly trade in meat and so on and so forth. I don't know if you're vegetarian. I don't know if it'd be less optimistic for you. But the thing about
I want to be optimistic.
Be optimistic, Rennie. We have to be optimistic.
All right.
Based on our dollar being valued against the US dollar, it has caused a certain disadvantage to us in trade. When the US dollar has devalued on an international level, the US dollar right now is appreciating to the point that the Canadian dollar, according to us, our dollar is actually coming down. When we have to purchase food and services, right? Remember, we will be utilizing less money to actually purchase the same amount of US now because our value has gone up. Yeah. So we're actually seeing trends that certain countries like Central American countries who produce meat and so on. It is anticipated within the next quarter that certain prices, about 10 to 15%, going to be less on certain products.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning.
It's a pleasure being here.
Take care now.